So during the course of our time with you, by way of these live streaming of masses here from the seminary, it's been a delight, a sheer delight for us to be able to share stories with you about our growing up, about our families, especially about our moms. Father Ken's mom, Agnes, Father Steve's mom, Roberta, Father Rector's mom's name is Marie, and my mom, Susan. And they were each of them, all of them, were very strong individuals. And I think, like your own moms, while they may in private let us know things that they didn't like about us, when it came to the public stuff, they were there right out front, really defending us, putting forth our message and our mission. And in so many ways, our moms were very much like the mom of James and John that we're hearing about today. And, we've all had that experience where our mothers will say things that will embarrass us. And it's kind of like, oh, Mom, did you have to say that? Did you have to bring that up? And I'm going to guess that that's not what James and John were doing in today's gospel. Because in this gospel, the gospel that comes from Matthew, we hear that their mom is the one who's going, hey, Jesus, you're going to make sure that my sons are at your right and left when you come into your kingdom. But we know from another gospel passage, and I think it's in Mark, where it's actually James and John are coming before Jesus to ask the same. And so you might wonder whether or not, the mother of James and John is coming to Jesus and say, wait a minute here, my sons have come and asked you something. You didn't give them an answer, so I'm going to ask it again. And we know that in the end, Jesus did hear what was in fact the plea of James and John through their mom and began to address what that was going to mean. It's interesting that as I was preparing my thoughts for today and checking on some commentaries, one of the commentaries that I was looking at took a look at another great saint, St. Teresa of the Little Flower, who wrote this particular line: God wouldn't inspire a desire that couldn't be realized. God couldn't inspire a desire that couldn't be realized. And so here we go with James and his brother John, and we're focusing today on James. And one of the things that we know from the Gospel of Mark is that they were called the sons of Boanerges, sons of thunder. Words that let us know what their personality was like. They were out there. They were in people's faces. They obviously had a great ambition. And in a very particular way, and especially because of what we know about James, he got what he wanted. Not necessarily the way he thought it would be, but he got what he wanted. And he got what he wanted in terms of what Jesus asked. Are you willing to drink the cup that I'm willing to drink of? Are you willing to take that urge in you, to climb the ladder or to be out front? Are you willing to use that, not for your own sake, but to use it for service of other people? And we know in the end, not only did James say yes to the Lord in the encounter today, but he lived it. We know that he stayed with the Lord Jesus. And we know that in a very particular way, he was the very first of the apostles that followed in the footsteps of Jesus by giving his life entirely. So it seems to me that in terms of one of the lessons that you and I can take away from this feast is we're grateful for not only James, but the way in which the Lord was able by the power of his grace to transform his ambition into a desire to serve the Lord and to serve his people. I wonder if it wouldn't be a nice exercise for us today to take a look at maybe a tendency in our lives that, like James and John and their ambition, might be a little bit offensive to other people. Maybe some of us have a tendency of being stubborn. Or maybe some of us have a tendency of wanting to control other people. Or there may be other characteristics that somehow maybe we should be a little bit ashamed of. And maybe it's not a bad idea that we can place one of those elements of our lives that might seem a little unsavory to other people, to think about it and present it before the Lord. And to see that maybe just as Jesus was able to take the braggadocio of James, or his loudness or his need to be out front, that maybe what the Lord can do for us as he did for James is to soften whatever that tendency is in us, so much so that we can offer it to the Lord and use it out of love for him, and also use it for better service to another. And I dare say that if we're willing to take that step, as humbling as it might be, and I know for sure, as we take a look at this gospel, that James was humbled by the words of Jesus spoken to him. In our capacity to be humbled, we can take whatever that particular quality is, let the Lord soften it, shape it, and help us to use it for his honor and glory and for the salvation of the world. And what will happen as a result of that is what happened to James. We'll become martyrs. Maybe we'll become unbloody martyrs, but we'll become martyrs nonetheless. Witnesses to the way in which Jesus truly is working today and alive, and especially in and through us.